Have you ever looked at someone in their 70s, connected to a dialysis machine, and quietly thought to yourself, how did it get that bad? What if I told you the damage may have started decades earlier, with things so ordinary, so harmless looking, most people in America still consume them every single morning without a second thought? A flavored coffee creamer, a healthy bottled juice, a few painkillers for aching knees. Tiny habits, repeated day after day, slowly exhausting the kidneys until one morning, the body simply cannot hide it anymore. And that is exactly what makes kidney disease so terrifying. It does not scream for attention like a heart attack. It does not cripple you overnight. Your kidneys suffer in silence, while you continue living your normal life, believing everything is fine. In fact, many people lose nearly half of their kidney function before they ever feel the first real warning sign. By the time the fatigue starts, the swelling appears, or the sleepless nights and constant urination begin, the damage is often already permanent. I'm Dr. Vincent Hale, and after more than 3 decades working with older adults and kidney patients, I can tell you this with complete honesty. Some of the most dangerous things harming your kidneys today are not the foods people fear most. They are the foods and drinks people trust. And what deeply unsettles me is that millions of Americans over the age of 50 are consuming them every single day, believing they are making healthy choices. But here's the good news. Your kidneys are incredibly loyal organs. Even after years of silent strain, they still fight for you every minute of every day. And if you catch the warning signs early enough, if you make the right changes now, there is still a real chance to reduce the burden on your kidneys before it's too late. So in today's video, I'm going to walk you through the hidden morning habits and common foods that quietly destroy kidney function over time, including one shocking item that many doctors now worry may be even more dangerous than salt itself. And I promise you, by the end of this video, you will never look at your kitchen, your breakfast, or your daily routine the same way again. The first white killer may already be sitting in your kitchen right now. And the frightening part is, most people consume it every single day, believing it is completely harmless. Sugar. Not just candy or desserts, but the hidden sugar inside bottled fruit juice, flavored coffee drinks, breakfast cereals, and so-called healthy snacks marketed to older adults. I once treated a 71-year-old patient named Margaret, who proudly told me she had avoided salty foods for years because she wanted to protect her kidneys. She rarely ate fast food, never smoked, and always started her mornings with a large glass of bottled cranberry juice because she believed it was good for the body. But when her lab results came back, her kidney function had already declined far more than expected. And what shocked her most was hearing that the real problem was not salt alone. It was the constant overload of sugar her body had been quietly processing every single morning for over a decade. Here's what many people still do not realize. Excess sugar, especially fructose, forces the liver to produce high levels of uric acid. And when uric acid begins building up in the bloodstream, it creates silent inflammation throughout the body, especially inside the tiny blood vessels of the kidneys. Over time, those delicate filtration units begin to stiffen, scar, and lose their ability to properly clean the blood. According to several metabolic studies, high sugar consumption is now strongly linked to chronic kidney disease, even in people who are not diabetic. That is what makes this danger so deceptive. You do not need to feel sick for the damage to already be happening. And if this sounds familiar, if sweet drinks or sugary snacks have quietly become part of your daily routine, I want you to be honest with yourself for a moment. Have you been protecting your taste buds while unknowingly exhausting your kidneys? But knowing this alone is not enough, because the next white ingredient hiding in millions of morning coffee cups may be even more dangerous than sugar itself. And if sugar has quietly invaded the American breakfast table, the second white killer may be even more deceptive because it disguises itself as comfort, warmth, and routine. I'm talking about artificial coffee creamers, those pale powders and flavored liquids millions of people pour into their coffee every single morning without hesitation. A few years ago, I met a retired school teacher named Richard. Every morning for nearly 20 years, he followed the exact same ritual. 2 cups of coffee, each loaded with flavored creamer, because he could no longer tolerate bitter coffee as he got older. He laughed when I first asked about it. "It's just creamer," he told me. "It can't possibly matter that much." But when his kidney tests began showing protein leakage, one of the earliest warning signs of kidney filtration damage, we started looking closer at the small daily habits nobody had questioned before. What many people don't realize is that most non-dairy creamers are not actually cream at all. They are ultra-processed mixtures filled with hydrogenated oils, phosphate additives, emulsifiers, artificial flavors, and whitening agents designed to imitate the texture of real milk. And over time, those additives create something incredibly dangerous inside the body: chronic, low-grade inflammation. The kidneys, which already become more vulnerable with age, are forced to filter these chemical compounds day after day, year after year. Some studies have even linked high phosphate additive intake to accelerated kidney decline and vascular damage in older adults. And what makes this especially dangerous is that the body rarely sends an immediate warning. No sharp pain, no dramatic symptoms, just silent stress accumulating in the background, while people continue believing they are making an innocent morning choice. So let me ask you something honestly. How many years has your morning coffee routine stayed exactly the same? And could one small habit, repeated thousands of times, be quietly exhausting your kidneys without you ever realizing it? But even this is not the most dangerous white food hiding in modern diets, because the next one damages the kidneys from the inside out, and most families keep it stocked in their kitchens every single week. By now, many people begin realizing something uncomfortable. Kidney damage rarely comes from one dramatic mistake. More often, it comes from small white foods eaten so regularly that the body stops questioning them. And the third white killer may be the most dangerous of all because it hides inside foods people consider cheap, convenient, and completely normal. I'm talking about processed white foods: instant noodles, packaged white bread, frozen meals, crackers, processed pastries, and many of the shelf-stable foods filling kitchen cabinets across America today. I remember a widower named Thomas, 74 years old, who lived alone after losing his wife. Cooking every day became exhausting, so little by little, convenience foods replaced homemade meals. Toast in the morning, instant soup at lunch, frozen dinners at night. He told me, "Doctor, I barely even use salt anymore." But when we reviewed his diet carefully, the real problem became painfully clear. He wasn't tasting the danger, because the sodium, phosphate additives, and preservatives were hidden inside the foods themselves. And this is where modern processed foods become especially cruel to aging kidneys. Many ultra-processed white foods contain enormous amounts of hidden sodium and inorganic phosphorus, additives used to improve texture, shelf life, and flavor. The frightening part is that inorganic phosphorus can be absorbed by the body at rates exceeding 90%, placing enormous stress on the kidneys. Over time, these compounds contribute to vascular stiffness, chronic inflammation, and microscopic scarring inside the kidney's delicate filtration system. According to kidney health researchers, highly processed diets are now strongly associated with faster kidney function decline, especially in adults over 50. The body often adapts quietly at first, maybe a little swelling in the ankles, more nighttime urination, slight fatigue people blame on aging. But beneath the surface, the kidneys may already be struggling to keep up with years of silent overload. And if some of these foods are part of your weekly routine, don't panic, because what comes next may completely change the direction of this story. Surprisingly, not every white food is harmful. In fact, the next four white foods may actually help support and protect your kidneys in ways most people never expect. After hearing all of this, some people begin feeling overwhelmed, almost afraid to eat anything at all. But this is the moment where the story takes an important turn, because not every white food harms the kidneys. In fact, one of the most powerful white foods for kidney support may already be sitting quietly in the dairy aisle of your grocery store: plain Greek yogurt. I remember a woman named Eleanor, 68 years old, who came to see me after struggling for years with fatigue, bloating, and recurring inflammation issues. She had spent so much time avoiding bad foods that she rarely thought about what her body was actually missing. When we began improving her diet, one of the simplest changes was replacing processed snacks with small portions of plain Greek yogurt during the week. A few months later, she told me something I still remember clearly. "For the first time in years," she said, "my body feels calmer." And strangely enough, that word calmer is exactly how many patients describe it when inflammation inside the body finally begins to settle down. What makes Greek yogurt so interesting is not just the protein, it's the probiotics, the beneficial bacteria that help support the gut microbiome. Scientists now understand something remarkable called the gut-kidney connection. When the gut becomes imbalanced from processed foods, excess sugar, and chronic inflammation, harmful toxins can build up in the bloodstream and place additional stress on the kidneys. But probiotic-rich foods like plain Greek yogurt may help restore some of that balance, reducing inflammatory compounds that quietly circulate through the body every day. The key, however, is choosing the right kind. Most flavored yogurts sold in stores are overloaded with added sugars that cancel out many of the benefits. What the kidneys respond to best is simple, unsweetened Greek yogurt with minimal additives. The kind closest to real food, not dessert disguised as health food. And if you've spent years believing kidney health was only about removing harmful foods, this may be the first time you realize healing also depends on what we choose to nourish the body with instead. But Greek yogurt is only the beginning, because the next white food surprises almost everyone. It's simple, inexpensive, and many people have overlooked its healing potential for decades. And sometimes, the foods that help the body heal are not exotic superfoods or expensive supplements advertised on television. Sometimes, they are the same simple vegetables that quietly sat on dinner tables for generations. And the next white remedy may be one of the most underrated kidney-friendly foods in modern nutrition: cauliflower. I once spoke with a man named Harold who had spent years avoiding vegetables altogether because he believed healthy eating had become too complicated. Every article seemed to contradict the next: too much potassium, too many restrictions, too many rules. But when we simplified his meals and introduced gentle, kidney-conscious foods like cauliflower, something changed. Not overnight, but gradually. He felt lighter after meals, less bloated, more energetic in the mornings, and most importantly, he finally felt like healthy eating was realistic again instead of overwhelming. What makes cauliflower so valuable for aging kidneys is its balance. It contains fiber, antioxidants, and anti-inflammatory compounds while remaining relatively low in potassium compared to many other vegetables that kidney patients are often warned about. Fiber plays a powerful role in helping the body remove waste products through digestion instead of forcing the kidneys to carry the entire burden alone. In a way, foods rich in natural fiber act like quiet partners supporting the body's filtration system from the background. And there's another reason this matters after the age of 50 or 60. As metabolism slows and inflammation quietly increases with age, the kidneys become far more sensitive to processed foods and chronic oxidative stress. But simple whole foods like cauliflower may help calm some of that internal stress before it develops into something more serious. If you think about it, the body rarely asks for perfection. Most of the time, it simply responds to consistency, to smaller choices repeated day after day. And perhaps that is why some of the healthiest traditional diets were never complicated to begin with. But the next white remedy may be even more powerful, because for centuries, people used it not only as food, but as medicine. And modern science is finally beginning to understand why. For thousands of years, long before modern medicine existed, people turned to one simple white ingredient again and again whenever the body became weak, inflamed, or sick. And today, science is beginning to confirm what many older generations seem to understand instinctively all along. The third white remedy is garlic. I still remember visiting an elderly couple in a small rural town years ago. They cooked almost everything with fresh garlic, soups, vegetables, even simple rice dishes. When I asked them why, the husband smiled and said, "It keeps the body warm and the blood moving." At the time, it sounded like an old family saying, but over the years I realized there was far more wisdom in those traditions than many people assume. Garlic contains powerful sulfur compounds, especially allicin, which researchers have linked to reduced inflammation, improved circulation, and lower oxidative stress inside the body. And this matters deeply for kidney health because the kidneys depend on healthy blood flow every second of the day. Tiny blood vessels carry oxygen and nutrients into delicate filtration structures that already become more fragile with age. When chronic inflammation and poor circulation develop over time, those filters slowly begin to scar and stiffen. But natural anti-inflammatory foods like garlic may help reduce some of that silent stress before it progresses further. And perhaps one of garlic's greatest benefits is surprisingly simple. It helps people rely less on salt. Many older adults gradually increase sodium intake because food begins tasting bland with age. But garlic adds depth and flavor naturally, allowing meals to remain satisfying without overloading the kidneys with excess sodium hidden in processed seasonings in packaged foods. So let me ask you something. Did your parents or grandparents cook with garlic almost every day? Maybe what looked like ordinary tradition was actually quiet protection repeated over a lifetime. But even garlic is not the most important white remedy in this entire video, because the final one is something almost every human being depends on, yet millions of people still get wrong every single day. And for aging kidneys, it may quietly determine the difference between resilience and decline. And after everything we've talked about today, the sugar, the processed foods, the hidden chemicals quietly stressing the kidneys year after year, the final white remedy may sound almost too simple to matter, but in many cases, it is the one thing the kidneys need most, and the one thing millions of people still neglect every single day: water. I once cared for an 80-year-old man named Walter who constantly complained of fatigue, dizziness, and swelling in his legs. He was convinced something serious was happening, but when we looked closely at his daily routine, we discovered something surprisingly common among older adults. He barely drank water throughout the day because he feared frequent urination at night. Coffee in the morning, maybe a soda at lunch, a little tea in the evening, but very little actual water. Over time, his body had been operating in a constant state of silent dehydration without him ever realizing it. And this is where aging kidneys become especially vulnerable. The kidneys rely on proper hydration to filter waste, balance minerals, regulate blood pressure, and remove toxins from the bloodstream. When the body becomes chronically dehydrated, the blood thickens, circulation slows, and the kidneys are forced to work under far greater strain. Imagine trying to clean a filter with barely any water flowing through it. At first, the system adapts, but eventually the pressure begins to wear everything down. According to multiple studies on aging and kidney health, even mild long-term dehydration may contribute to faster kidney function decline over time. But here is the part many people misunderstand. Protecting the kidneys is not about forcing yourself to drink gallons of water all at once. It is about consistency. Small amounts throughout the day, a glass after waking up, water before meals, Water replacing sugary drinks little by little. Quiet habits that slowly reduce the burden on the kidneys instead of shocking the body with extremes. And maybe that is the biggest lesson in all of this. Kidney disease rarely appears overnight. Most of the time, the damage happens slowly, through habits repeated so often they begin to feel normal. But healing can begin the same way. One choice, one meal, one glass of water at a time. And the beautiful thing is, your kidneys are still fighting for you, even now. If there is one thing I truly hope you take away from today's video, it is this. Your kidneys are incredibly patient organs. They work quietly for you every single day, filtering your blood, balancing your body, protecting your life, even when you are not paying attention to them. And most of the time, they do not ask for perfection. They simply ask for a little more care, a little earlier than most people think. You do not need to change your entire life overnight to begin protecting your kidneys. Sometimes the most powerful changes are also the simplest ones. Drinking more water instead of another sugary drink. Choosing real foods more often than processed ones. Reducing artificial additives little by little. And paying attention to the small warning signs your body has been trying to whisper for years. These small choices may seem insignificant today, but over time, they can become the difference between strength and decline, between independence and illness later in life. And if someone you love is over the age of 50 or 60, I encourage you to share this video with them as well, because many people are losing kidney function silently without realizing it. And sometimes one piece of information shared at the right moment can truly change a life. If you found this video helpful, please take a moment to save it so you can come back to these lessons whenever you need them. And subscribe to the channel for more medically grounded videos on kidney health, healthy aging, nutrition, and simple daily habits that may help protect your body as the years go by. My goal is not to frighten you, but to help you stay informed, prepared, and healthier for as long as possible. And remember this, the body has an incredible ability to respond when we finally begin treating it with kindness and consistency. No matter your age, it is never too late to make one better choice today than you did yesterday. Your kidneys are still fighting for you, and that means there is still hope.